better tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina Speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, good afternoon. Give me one moment. I will be with you in just a second. Yes. There we go. I'm just getting my links here so that we can get everybody up and running. But if we do it too early, guess what? They cut you off midstream. Oh, yeah. Technology. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it is good to be back here with you. I hope everybody's hearing me good this evening. Yes, and in today's show, I'm asking a powerful question. Let's just get straight into it because we realize what's going on globally. OMG. I'm going to ask the real question just to set the pace, just to set the tone, to let you know where we want to go. But again, this platform is yours. We will take it where you want it to go. What's really on our plate? You can see by the flyer and everything leading up to this show, what's really on our plate. Food, if you didn't know, isn't just about taste, It's about health. It also is about economics. And guess what? Even politics is there. If you noticed, in the UK, the government has banned online ads for junk food and even restricting them on TV advertising before 9 p.m. in the evening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you hadn't heard it, that's a very bold move, signaling that protecting children's health is a national priority. Meanwhile, in the US, yes, good old United States of America, their new 2025 to 2030 health and nutrition plan, which is pushing Americans towards whole foods, less sugars, and less sodium. And when you look at those two countries, both countries are saying loud and clear, food policy is health policy. So what does that mean for us right here in Cayman? Well, I want to encourage every one of you to keep it locked right here. Go and call your friends. Go and let them know that we're live, because welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks. We're voices of the islands and conversations for the world, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. And yes, I'm your host, Sabrina, and it's good to be back with you this evening. And the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. So I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional or for your specific concerns. Now, Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. 345-936-8255 is the number to call to be a part of the lively discussions that we have here. And even right there on your social media handle that you're streaming us live from. We encourage you to call in, be respectful, and even with your comments online. Unlike some other hosts, I don't give any warning. If I see you rude, I just boot you. I don't have no time for any foolishness. I will not block you from your opinions, but if it comes into a way that is just outright rude, I don't give any warning. You'll just see you disappear. That's not something that I enjoy doing, but it's all about respect and everybody's entitled to their opinions. You can just keep it and make sure that you are being respectful to everybody else's opinions as well. Now, before we get into the crooks and crannies of things, please let me share with you this evening weather forecast, which will be not as long as you usually be. This evening's forecast calls for mostly fair skies with moderate winds and seas. Now we have a real field temperature of 77 degrees. It's going to feel like 80 tonight, and winds are east to northeast 10 to 15 knots. Now seas are moderate with 3 to 5 feet, and sun will rise tomorrow morning at 7:02. And Jimbo, guess what? Sunset tomorrow at 6:02. So we want to let you know what's going on right there and keeping it real for you. Now, before I go into anything, I was just informed of the passing of the late Mr. Herbie Martin. We know Mr. Herbie Martin is known for his performances in the Rundown comedy stage show, and definitely his involvement in the Cayman Islands National Cultural Foundation. Our thoughts and prayers goes out to all of his family and loved ones, and we wish you, all our blessings through this time. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of the late Herbie Martin. And, we're so sorry to hear of his passing. Yes. So let's send birthday shout outs to, it's that time where we send birthday shout outs to our very own Miss Joanne Brown of Celebrations. Everyone knows Miss Joanne for actually being part of those moments with people where, she makes special moments special. So today I want to, again, from all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks family, we want to send you birthday wishes, share our love with you. And we really hope that you have a good day. Yes, yes, yes. We hope you're enjoying your birthday. We wish you many, many, many more to come. Yes. So happy birthday from all of us. And yes, it was a late post because I didn't realize today was her birthday. And upon realizing today was her birthday, I immediately did a post, which was shortly before coming live. So yeah, there we go. So happy birthday to you, Miss Joanne. And I wish you many, many more birthdays to come. There we go. It's good to see you here. Welcome, Miss Barbara G. Good evening. How are you? I hope that you're doing well. Hey, Shaka Zulu. Good evening to you as well. Marshall, it's always good to have you here. Yes, Donnie, how are you? Good evening to you. Damian Henry's in the house. Yes, and it is a pleasure to have all of our newcomers and our followers. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And we love our newcomers. And please share all that we're having here. 345-936-8255 is the number to call to be a part of this conversation once we're live here. But your comments are always welcome, like I said. Hey, Connie Bonnie, good evening to you, my love. It's good to have you here with us. Damian Henry, always, which I had your weather right now. Oh, okay. Oh, you keep that. Damien, oh my goodness. Well, you just bottle up the memories, my love. Hey, Monica, how are you? Happy New Year. Always good to have you in the house as well. Keeping us definitely locked and in the know. Sonia, it's good to see you as well. Yes. Yes. Annie, how are you, my love? Thank you so much, Jax. Annie, it's good to have you. Yes, blurry. I don't know what's going on. Double check your thing. Restart, Monica, if anything. I don't know what's going on, but everything appears to be okay otherwise. We did have a little glitch yesterday, so I don't know what was going on. But yeah, there we go. And it's always good to have you here with us, and it's good to be back. Yeah, for all of you who were asking for Mr. Balika, just for a matter of record, I did touch base with him. He's okay, and he's alive. That's what we got to say. But we know that he's. I just got to give you an update on him because we know we have a lot of our contributors and supporters to this platform. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure keep you up to date as well. When we don't hear from them, I actually check. Once I got them on either social media or WhatsApp, I definitely touch base with anyone who's just go MIA. Like this one, he went MIA for a while. Yeah, Jimbo went MIA for a while. It's good to have you here, Jimbo. And I made sure I touch base with him. And of course, he got a report back to Tango Base. Well, just getting into things. I know yesterday we were cut short, like I said, and I want to just make sure that we can just put this into perspective, notwithstanding all that continues to unfold within the United States of the death of Miss Good after dropping her 6-year-old off to school yesterday. It has dominated the headlines. Likewise, the happenings and developments and that's unfolding as well with Venezuela, whether it's oil, whether it's narco-terrorists. Now you're hearing all of the latest on Greenland now, like efforts are being made now to purchase or buy Greenland or to take over Greenland, whatever approach it is. But right now, the news worldwide is not at all short. Whatever platform you actually choose to get your news from, I don't feel that we should be in isolation here in the Cayman Islands from what's happening international, because some way, somehow, we're all somewhat intertwined. And why not be informed? Why not put yourself in a position to really get abreast of what's going on? This by no means is taking any political stance, or I don't do that. And again, yesterday, you didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it's becoming apparent of what's happening with Miss Good and people's perception. So as that continues to unfold and as the investigation continues, a mom was lost, a mother is lost. Those kids now has no mom. And it just shows where immigration reform is going. Here in the Cayman Islands, we constantly ask for our gatekeepers to do their jobs. Now, at the end of the day, what ICE is in the United States, which I'll kind of go into that a little bit. What ICE is in the United States is similar to our enforcement arm of the CBC and enforcement arm of the WORC, just that they're out trying to whatever mandate they've been given by the government. And obviously they're executing this mandate. So at the end of the day, I've even heard some saying, we need that here. Really? I want you to think that carefully. Now, what we do want is our enforcement officers to honestly uphold the law and enforce it. Otherwise, the great immigration reform that we have, when we see the regulations, is just words on a paper if they're not enforced. But how long is a piece of string? How far do you go within those rights, within those limits in apprehending offenders or persons who are in breach? When you look at illegal entry, overstayers and all that sort of stuff, your approach and dignity, human rights and all that sort of stuff. So at the end of the day, it's not getting involved in domestic politics as it pertains to the United States or as it pertains to Venezuela, what's happening or has happened over there. But it's topical. And I feel in platforms such as this, where we are geographically located, that some things are worth mentioning. And like I said, your opinions really matter. Your feedback is valuable as well. hence what I was saying about today's topic pertaining to food. Yes. So at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, we are here to keep it real. And I promised you that at the end of the day, I wanted to share with you, have you heard segments? We got two today in a local format. Let's see what Jim is saying, because we love his feedback, of course. Jim is saying, I'm turning off majority of news platforms due to the amount of bias across the board. I much prefer listening to unbiased information, allowing people to make up their own minds and doing my own research. It's just become so maddening and sickening. Jim, you are quite right. I mean, sometimes I like have on multiple devices, literally. I'm on YouTube streaming something. Of course, I go to CNN, and it's amazing how you do the ABC and you do the Fox and all that sort of stuff. And then you actually go and fact checked a lot of stuff and perception. Oh my God, from one angle to the next. So, yeah, I see where you're going. But when you look at even doing your own research, it all depends on how deep of a dive you go as well. Because I'm quite sure, Jimbo, time is going to come that you're even going to doubt what you're pulling up, even with your research. But yeah, there are some really unbiased platforms that still exist, thank God. And I hope that they will keep reporting exactly in an unbiased way. But yeah, I totally feel it. In my world, with what I do here, what I present here, it's not always just local. I will make mention of things that are happening around the world for a number of reasons. And you will see where it all ties in at the end of the day, bearing in mind the Cayman Islands is a British overseas territory. We are owned by the United Kingdom. And there are just certain things, which is why I started the way I did. And we do have our own Cayman Islands food national security policy as well. And I'll go into that. But it's just showing where we're all interconnected at the end of the day. The UK may have stopped advertising of junk food, so to speak, online at all time, and then only designated times on TV. But remember now, at the end of the day, we are a British overseas territory jurisdiction. So will we see that trickling down when you tie that in even to our STEP survey and the results that are there? It's resounding. The facts, the data is there, and it is local information that we have. So there's no excuse as to whether or not obesity is not an issue here, that non-communicable diseases is not here, that public health, the Department of Agriculture, and all this sort of stuff are going to have, the Ministry of Health is going to have to work together to put this in as a national footprint as well, which ties into even education and what we feed our children. And when you look at the cost of which it's healthcare and access to good healthcare is actually costing this government, is why I feel it's important. So when you look at the stage and how it's being sat across the world, Cayman is not immune from having some of these things eventually trickle down into how we advertise, what we advertise, possibly some mandates on even some of our fast food restaurants. I'm just saying it is all aligning. And I'm hoping that today's discussion will put it into context and you can see where we're not as disconnected as you think, or for what you may want to believe for your own reasons. But let's get back to our Have You Heard segment. What are you saying there? Yes, I do. Anonymous, I do. The Cayman Islands follow BBC News, and independently you can do that thanks to the power of a lot of the podcasts that they do have and a lot of subscriptions. We do. At one point in time at night, I think Radio Cayman, our national radio station, still broadcasts the BBC News at night after hours. I stand to be corrected, maybe after 11 or 12 on our national, which is like our public broadcasting station here in the Cayman Islands. Jim also says, and everyone has a right of their own. Yes, they do. Even though, Jimbo, some people are kind of questioning that. Like I got the question as well earlier on when I was putting together the notes on nutrition. and health and having access to fast food, how much fats, how much sugars, yada, 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 from a national standpoint. What business is that of the government if I choose to live on burgers? Who cares if I choose to live on milkshakes? That some people may see that as a way of, again, leading into controlling and stepping into my human rights and the freedom of choice and limiting my sugar intake and all that. So that's a wider discussion. But yeah, when going back to what you said, everyone has their right to their own opinions. How vocal that is, because we're seeing in certain cultures that they've definitely becoming more and more silent, which doesn't help either. Aliano, hi, good to have you in the house this evening. True, but group think becomes facts in those closed bubbles, and then some comes the echo chamber of high minds. Aliano, check that again for me and just put more context for me so I can elaborate. But yeah, have you heard now that, remember in November, back in late of November, the avian influenza, the bird flu, was detected at a farm here in the Cayman Islands in West Bay. And we noticed that when the owner noticed that a couple of their turkeys had tested positive, right? And further testing confirmed that these infected birds were actually positive for that. Well, you know, at the end of the day, because of this outbreak in West Bay, to protect our food supply, our government here froze the movement of live birds. And that froze, or what that freeze did, that restriction now has been lifted, meaning now that farmers and families can get back to normalcy. And what it is really is a reminder of how biosecurity measures as well, another layer, can work. And the quick action of when the farmer realized what was going on, that something wasn't right on his farm, he made the call, and our government and the relevant government agencies quickly stepped into action to contain the risk and then return to business once things were safe. Now, at the end of the day, a broader ban from that also temporarily, again, all in protection, stopped the movement of live poultry between Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac, even Little Cayman. That's what happened. And so what we found out in this report is that as of December the 21st, 2025, the restriction had expired. And because of that, now the order has had a limited scope, even though it was just focused on West Bay, but they did what it means, what they had to do in order to protect the wider Cayman Islands. Now, what this means for our farmers right now with this being lifted is that they can, as I said earlier, resume normal trade in chickens, turkeys, ducks, once it's birds, live birds. And our consumers here can actually poultry products and purchase are back to normal availability now. Now, that also brings into the play, again, as I alluded to earlier on, public health and what role it plays in lifting of these restrictions. That signals now that the outbreak here was contained and risk levels are now manageable and at a rate where there's no longer a risk. Mm-hmm. Also, here in the Cayman Islands government, I don't know if you've seen it, but I came across where the Cayman Islands government has released its strategic policy statement from 2026 to 2028. Remember now, this elected arm government, their budget started on January the 1st. And remember, we were talking about what is the plan? What is the roadmap for this government? What are their promises? What are they going to do? What are they going to fulfill? Now, that strategic policy statement from 2026 to 2028, this roadmap that sets out 7 big priorities from improving the quality of life to protecting even our environment, to strengthening the economy and investing in infrastructure as well. So, hey, we may get the long-awaited road. That's all in there. And this, my friends, is just not a booklet, a glossy paper with beautiful pictures. It's really the plan that guides how decisions will be made and how resources are spent over the next 3 years for this government. And in those priorities that covers from 2026, from January 1st to 2028, they're those improving the quality of life, and what they will be focusing on. This administration is on healthcare, housing, education, and overall community well-being. You see where it ties into nutrition? That is part of improving quality of life. And the aim for that focus is to make everyday life better for Caymanians and residents. That also, I'm sure, includes your mental health, right? And another one of their 7 is protecting the environment. And the aim of protecting the environment is balance in development and with sustainability. And in that, it is really their plans to safeguarding beaches and our reefs and our national resources. So it explains what they want to do and what it will take there for the protection of our environment. Also, one of their 7 is also strengthening the economy. They intend to support tourism, support financial services, and of course, local businesses. And the aim for that is to really keep our jurisdiction, the Cayman Islands, competitive and resilient, hoping well that our own natives will benefit from that, possible with opportunities, better job opportunities, or creating that environment for self-employ or innovation, right? Another one is for building safer communities. That is their aim is now investing in policing. We heard where a lot of the questionings came out for that. And it's in addition to investing in policing, justice and disaster preparedness as well. We know we live in a hurricane belt. We saw what Melissa did to Jamaica. This falls under building safer communities. And I'm just doing this in a synopsis format because you got to read it for yourself, right? And the aim under building safer communities is to ensure that people of the Cayman Islands really feel secure at home and in the public, hence investing in policing, justice, and disaster preparedness. And investing in infrastructure, again, that dovetails, if you can see where there are synergies here, that includes our roads, schools, hospitals, and digital systems. AI, IT, connectivity, internet, faster service, reliable service, electricity, that is all in there. And the aim is for anything pretty much that's outdated or will cause us where we want to develop and grow as a jurisdiction. The aim for investing in infrastructure is to, they want to fund so that modernized Cayman for growth, get us to a point where we can be able to accommodate the growth and efficiency. Now, we know that's debatable because many of us are saying we're growing too fast, we're leaving out our people, but even if we say not one more person right here, right now, we still need to improve our roads. We still need better schools and education system as well. But we're speaking about the infrastructure. So this is the bricks and the mortar. We're hearing the cry for persons in West Bay that we need a school in that district. And of course, hospitals as well, and digital system making us be more efficient and just modernize, getting us up to date, right? Promoting good governance as well. And in regards to that, they're talking about transparency, accountability, and effective public service. And the aim under that is to really build trust in government decisions. What do you take on that one? Yeah, but that's their promise. They have this in their blueprint. They have this as one of the 7 things that they're actually going to deliver between 26 for the next 3 years, right? And also in there, it says empowering people and culture. And what this is that they aim to support Caymanian heritage, arts, and opportunities for youth. And the aim here is to strengthen identity and social cohesion. Yes, you hear that word? Cohesion. No labels, cohesion. Once you're here, cohesion. Yes, that's the aim of empowering people and culture. Support Caymanian heritage is first. Arts and opportunities for youth. And the aim in that section is strengthen identity and social cohesion. And, at the end of the day, these priorities will help. Having them so nicely outlined, I'm able to bring it to you in a nutshell, which I'm hopefully they will be giving more on this from their respective ministries, of course, now that it's a breakaway and it's supposed to be all feet on the ground. Let's get it done. Let's deliver this in this time frame, because you, the people, have the right to hold them accountable for this document that is now in the public's domain, posted on the government's website. And what these priorities do is they guide budgets. When they actually passed that budget the other day, it shows where money will be spent under those 7 priorities. They also will shape laws and policies because they have been adequately funded. What gets passed in Parliament, like for what they say here. So anything that is actually covered under there that is empowering people and culture, promoting good governance, investing in infrastructure. So if they come back for laws and funding for roads, schools, hospitals, for more policing, for disaster, for whatever is needed for strengthening the economy, protecting the environment, and improving quality of life, like houses, that is exactly what legislations are going to come in place that should get the support, because that was the promise to the people. And what this also do, the strategic policy statement, is that it actually sets the expectations. This is their promise to you. What you, every citizen of the Cayman Islands, can look forward to in services and programs as outlined here in this document. So at the end of the day, the strategic policy statement that has always used the acronym, the SPS, if you've constantly heard that thrown around recently or in the past couple of months because it was overshadowed by immigration reform, is the government's promise or their promised direction, their promised trajectory, what they're going to do for the people. So there you have it. I've broken it down as simple as I can for you. And I'm hoping that now you know what you got to do to hold them accountable if you do not like what's happening. Yeah. So, Andrew, how are you? We have become addicted to unhealthy food habits, processed foods, fast foods, alcohol. If you abuse your body, it will wear down and break down. Health is wealth. I can't agree with you more. You are quite right. Anonymous says, we do have a sugar tax here in the United Kingdom. We've moved over to Coke, Zero, etc. And I think the majority of people actually prefer it. The choice to still buy normal Coca-Cola is there, but it is a little more. Oh, so what they did, they made it more expensive. Yes, I get you. Thank you for that. Interesting. Damien says, hi, Sabrina, please let us know all the countries that have banned certain food. That may take me a little while to get that information, Damien, but I will actually do this. Ban certain foods like sugary foods. What type of foods? Just give me a little bit more on that. In simple context, when facts are formed as one group or groups only truth, it becomes hard to break the sheep through process. Oh, hope that helps. Okay, I got you. I got what you're saying. Thank you for that, my love. Damien Charles says solar farms and water reserves in each neighborhood for emergencies. Could multi-purpose use with parks? Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, that would fall under the infrastructure. So Damien Charles, it would be good to speak to any elected MP, especially if you're in your area, and see what they can put it forward. The good thing is that our members of parliament can actually is easily accessible. And that seems to me that would fall under one, sustainability, and also infrastructure and work. So you're dealing with Minister Kathy. Ebanks Wilkes and Minister J. Ebanks for those two. So that would be like a joint effort for what you have proposed here. Yes. Barbara G. I raised my kids in the United States of America. However, junk foods such as the drive-thrus were never an option for meals. Thank God they're both good cooks and very healthy. Barbara, you know what's good for you? You did that. It's quite easy. Everything in the US is biggie this and biggie that and mega this and mega that. And it's almost like you get it less the bigger you go. And what I noticed even in Europe is that when you're over there at first and you start tasting their food, you're like, oh my God, this needs more sugar. Oh God, they need more seasoning. Not to tell you, we are used to that, right? But case in point, the amount of sugar and food colorings and dyes and that sort of stuff. Over here in the Western Hemisphere is really much, much higher, and everything is that much sweeter. And even like Filipino products and stuff and things from Thailand. I have a very good friend, Joa, down at the Asian market, and I usually go and I buy their stuff a lot. And me being a post-gastric bypass patient, you know, I'm very sensitive to sugars, nothing over 7 grams of sugar. Otherwise, I will have a serious reaction. But his stuff I could eat and no problem. And again, it's how and what the ingredients are. And anything, you know, even in the UK and stuff, when I was over there, my cousin and I went to, yes, I'm going to say this, Dr. The former CMO is going to cringe. I found a Krispy Kreme. And of course, because I know my tolerance for sugar is very low, oh my God, I was very cautious when I ate freshly made, warm and everything. And I had no reaction. So there's obviously, but yet when I'm in Miami or in Florida, in the US, one Krispy Kreme, I just get a reaction, even from one little piece. So there is a difference, I feel, over there versus the American. And I feel, Miss Barbara, good call for you. But we do see things here where everything has to be bigger. It is sweeter. And a shameless plug to even Tim Hortons. When I go there and I order their stuff, it's not the same. The sweet, people say, I don't like that because it's not sweet. Canadian, not American. And their honey is different. And for the record, you know, their donuts are not fried. I didn't realize that. Yeah. So not that I'm encouraging this, and that's why I said shameless plug. I'm just letting you know personal experience because I'm very sensitive to sugars. And I don't have any problem. Now, I'm not telling every gastric bypass patient to go there and thing, but I'm just letting you know my personal experience. And it's so much easier when you're over in Europe and I'm eating their stuff. I have less reactions and I can indulge a little bit more in their pastries and stuff, which speaks a lot because I can't do the same here or when I go to the US. Jimbo says, everything in moderation. Just keep moving and grooving. Oh, you don't have to tell me about that, Jimbo. I keep doing it, boy. Those fast food so-called restaurants are great with their marketing. And many times it's directed to kids, which directly aligns with our subject. And go down the cereal aisle at the grocery stores and see what's at eye level for the size of kids, which majority are filled with sugars, chemicals, and color. And that is where the UK has taken the bull by the horn. You cannot advertise at all. And cereals is one of the things online. And in between certain times during the day, you're not allowed to advertise cereals, that sort of stuff. Even porridge. Can you imagine? Even porridge. You can't advertise over there in the UK. So they're definitely stepping it up. Anonymous says, American companies have used different ingredients. Here in Europe, a lot of USA chemicals and ingredients are banned here. It would have to be, I could be honest with you, because it's totally different when I'm over there. Totally different. I can indulge a little bit. I swear, if I knew I wouldn't have had a reaction to those Krispy Kremes, I'd have probably bought more. But again, PTSD is real because I know I can't tolerate it, but they were fresh. They were just coming off and you can see them being made. Oh my God. Yeah. But I did enjoy it. And thank God it was only, if my memory serves me well, I only did one run because we never passed that joint again where we were in London. We didn't pass there again. I didn't go looking. I just was there for business, and it is what it is. Damien Henry, European food standards are way better than American standards. It has to be, Damien Henry, and I have to agree with you there. I have to honestly agree with you there. Now let's take a look a little bit into the international segment of Have You Heard? And of course, this is continuing to develop. And I know I will have some of you that will say, look, the internet changes by the minute, really right now by the second. But just before coming live, I saw Forbes reported that while major, we're going to turn this now to international, right? Forbes reports that while major oil companies are steering clear of Venezuela, smaller drillers are eager to move in after the so-called, and I'm quoting, takeover of its oil industry. And what that actually shows, when I did a synopsis of that, and I dug down a little deeper, is that it really shows the power of politics and what the power that politics have can shape investment decisions. Can you imagine? And because right now, again, this is fluid, it could change, subject to change. Big firms avoid risk, but smaller players, from what we're seeing so far, at least early stage, seize opportunity. And we see that right here in the Cayman Islands with our medium and small business, our mom and pops. They're the risk takers. They're willing to take the risk. And what that does, though, is that it reminds us that oil isn't just energy, it's economics, and definitely big, bold, and italic, geopolitical, all interlocked into one. So there's a whole basket of it. And what we're seeing, though, then, because of this, is that major oil companies, because of this, right, like Exxon, Chevron, and even BP, they're still somewhat cautious. Yeah, that's what we're seeing, at least in the earlier days, because what they're saying in this article is that Venezuela's oil sector has had a history of instability, again, wreaked by sanctions and political risks. So they're more, not so sure. Let me see how this is going to go. So big firms, from what we're seeing based on history and track record, they would prefer stable environments for long-term investments. Hence, now you're going to have to tell us really what's going on. And what we're seeing now with the exploratory drillers, meaning smaller risk-tolerant businesses, right? They see opportunity, build it, and they would come almost into this untapped reserve, since for now, it looks more, the environment is now looking more favorable for these small businesses to possibly go in. And these companies now, because of that, are willing to take these risks more than larger corporations, because they're hesitant still, right? But what we're seeing still is the US involvement, and it's still very topical on every news platform you can see. The so-called takeover, as it's being labeled or referred to, it refers to the United States increased influence over the Venezuela's oil exports, and of course, financial flows following all of these restrictions and sanctions efforts. So at the end of the day, my love, big companies avoid these unstable environment. That's what it's actually showing. But the smaller players, they're willing to definitely gamble it and step in. Would you? It'll be interesting. This may be remember cryptocurrency and all that sort of stuff. Oh my God, we should have got in earlier. Yeah. Let's see. It's definitely changing by the minute almost. Hey, Jimbo, I'm so glad the US has changed the rules for the color, in foods, which are cancer-causing chemicals. Soon they won't be in our foods any longer. Jim, even the ketchup as well. I thought something was wrong with the ketchup. In Europe, it's a total different color. And you're like, what the hell? Did they put water in this? I mean, the look was like, oh, what's that? And then the taste, it tastes so much better. So yeah. But that's some of the changes as well. I do wonder if that is due to the Canadian and European population doing massive boycotts of American goods. Who to tell? We don't know. I mean, like I tell you, girl, we just got to just wait this out and see what's going to happen. It happens so quickly now. At the end of the day, it happens so quickly now. You're constantly on. Hence, I tell you, I have multiple devices on one station, one on the other station. Then you got to be like, okay, hold on. But I just heard this being said there. Let's just dispatch it together. Similar to what Jim is saying. Yeah. Also in international news, and I know this is New Year's resolution, we've heard big, this big craze in weight loss drugs and medication. But new research now shows that people who have stopped taking injections, slimming jabs is what they called it, regain weight 4 times faster than those who lose weight through just regular dieting. And some people ask why, because that should be something that there's a reason why you're taking the medications to keep it off, right? Guess what? Because these injections only suppresses appetite. But if you suppress appetite and you don't change your behavior, guess what's happening? You're still chugging in all of those empty carbs, which doesn't help maintain any weight loss because of your appetite suppression. So once you stop taking it, the hunger returns. And once you feed that hunger with junk at the end of the day, guess what happened? It comes back on plus some. So what they're seeing with this study is where the question really arises is whether or not these injections as a quick fix, or at the end of the day, do you couple it and pair it with stronger support for permanent lifestyle changes to make the weight loss more sustainable? Again, I've shared my story here with you with having done the gastric bypass, and the work did not come. The work started after the procedure in order to maintain. And at the end of the day, you are investing in your health when you make these suggestions. No, oh God, when the weight fell off, such as some of these slimming injections, right? They're medications to help us to reduce our appetite. Of course, you're going to lose the weight. But what this new research shows that when people stop taking it is that they regain everything that they lost even much faster than those who choose the route to whether you're going to modify your diet or you incorporate healthy lifestyle like walking, going to aerobics, be it water aerobics, or just coming up with a friend and you do a walking club, or maybe you want to play a little bit of volleyball or something, whatever it is it takes, or dancing. Yeah, dancing. Whatever it is that you want to do that in collaboration with modifying your diet, that at the end of the day, that's more sustaining, meaning you would keep the weight off much faster. And at the end of the day, 4 times faster. Oh my God. Do you know what that is compared to traditional diets? You kind of make you wonder, why do it anyhow? So what they're saying is that the medication works, yes, with altering your hunger signal that's being signaling to the brain. So you want to feed it. But once you stop it and that goes away, you are more inclined then to go back to your old habits and choices. And without that discipline of making healthier and better choices, you're going to go right back to the same lifestyle. Yes. So we're going to go into, I'm going to take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speaks. You're live. What's on your mind?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fair to fine.
What's on my mind is what you're talking about with people taking drugs and procedures lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I used myself as a post gastric bypass patient of, I think, what, 14 years now?
okay. Um, the problem is that I don't think people are getting quality information
Mm-hmm.
about what it means to lose fat. Because there's a difference between losing fat and losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds like it's the same, but it's not.
Yeah, because you can lose fat, underlying fat, and you could lose muscle, which is
Right,
two different things.
right.
And then that's where you
And
get the saggy and the iguana neck. Mm-hmm.
you know how some people have like swollen legs,
Mm-hmm.
like they call it water retention.
Yeah.
That's because it is water retention.
And
Uh,
that could also lead to could be a sign of cardiac issues, too much sodium intake. And then you have this thing where the heart is just not pumping fast enough to get all that fluid up. So you retain it in your extremities.
well, if you're consuming excess
Sugar,
sugar,
sugar and salt.
yeah, then um, you will store a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
But that's you see, the solution isn't to take a pill or an
Mm-hmm.
injection.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is to understand why what is happening is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unless you modify um, or eliminate the things that go counter to what you're trying to achieve, then you're working against your own goals
Mm-hmm.
by a poor diet.
Right.
And so the problem is that if you're starving yourself, you actually can't really lose weight.
Because
You're,
you're telling your body, look, you're going to need that fat for energy. Let
that,
me hold it.
that's
Otherwise, you're
right.
not going to move. So your body just shuts down because it's saying, hey, let me go in panic mode here. No more food's coming. So let me hold on to all this fat.
That means your body cannibalizes the muscle.
Correct.
And so um, this touches on this idea of healthcare as a business,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you see what we have is a conflict. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some doctors will tell you the truth. Some doctors, they just tell you what you need is a prescription, which is a doctor running a business.
Uh-huh.
Um, because it doesn't really address what the core issue is. Like, you see how you use the example of exercising?
Yeah.
Um, losing fat is something that's done in the kitchen. Gaining strength is what you do by exercising.
Exercising. Mm-hmm.
But by exercising and strengthening and building your muscles, you accelerate fat loss because bigger engines burn more gas.
Correct.
And so it's a combination of things that need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are people who have, genetic issues which make it really difficult for them to
Yeah.
lose fat.
They have
But
hormonal
but gen-
disorders and that sort of stuff.
right.
Yeah.
But many of those things, in and of themselves, generally speaking, in the population, is not really a genetic issue, but more of maybe an epigenetic issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, people can really dramatically change their health by adhering to a strict diet. When I say strict, I don't mean starvation.
Yeah.
And see,
Healthier options.
that was the point that really caused me to call in, because you made reference to people, who these low on calories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you actually you need um, sufficient nutrients in order for your body to function properly. So so starving it is not what one should be doing.
Correct.
In fact, if you eat the 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 thing which that is essential for people to get is essential fatty acids
Mm-hmm.
and essential amino acids. Um, you don't need all of the carbohydrates that we generally consume in society. We're doing things the absolute wrong way. Um,
But how do you tie
which I-
in cultures then with the,
well,
well, you know them good old rundown with all that coconut milk and all this sort of stuff, even,
what about the culture of doing 100 miles an hour without a seatbelt and wrapping yourself around a light pole?
I know you would go there.
I mean,
We're talking about food.
I know, but no, we're
It's the
talking
same
about
concept.
culture.
Yes,
Culture,
yes, yeah.
culture. It's our culture,
Yeah.
but it'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose either what you want the outcome to
To
be
be.
and then do whatever it takes to achieve the outcome, or you can do whatever you want, but you'll be locked into the outcome.
Because it's interesting with the United States rolling out their 2025 to 2030 dietary guidelines yesterday. They used the term that here we are talking about culture, that it's a culture reset.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Well, you know, well, in the Bible, it says that the sins of the fathers are visited upon the third and fourth generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a poetic way of saying that we learn habits from our parents.
What was another interesting thing, and I watched that presentation yesterday, and I'm going to quote here. It says, this reset, right, is that one reflects on the health crisis facing America and the need for accountability in how nations feed their people. Now, that ties into why you came to mind when I heard that statement being made when it came then to human rights. Because
Yeah.
remember now, nearly 70% of the US adults are overweight or obese. And guess what? 90% of the healthcare spending goes to chronic diseases that are linked to just poor diet. We see that right here in the Cayman Islands based on the data presented in our STEP survey. That is not regional. That is Cayman information.
Well, businesses want reoccurring revenue. And curing people isn't as profitable as addressing symptoms.
Hmm.
And so if you just address the symptoms and you never address the underlying issue,
To try and end
then,
it.
then you have a lifelong customer.
Correct.
And
Always
this is
on
where
medication, always on dialysis, another
Yeah.
amputee that's going to need another prosthesis. Yeah. Physio. So let's keep them coming through the doors. We'll just do it, keep it at bay a little bit, but why not keep them as a long-term customer?
Yeah. And we really need to get away from that. But one of the biggest things that I think facilitates the poor diet is the way that the way that the industries are regulated. See, what has happened is that people from the respective areas of the food industry
Mm-hmm.
have effectively captured the regulatory agencies and regulate in their own interests.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems that we're facing is the concept of deception. We're not really being told the truth about what we're eating. So
Have anybody even talked about it or even thought about it? Danny, come on. Let's be real. Going back, my grandmother never ate turtle or anything like that, raised up in an Adventist home, right?
Mm.
For those who have eaten her turtle, she cooks the best turtle. But you had to get that monablin in there. That fin. You understand?
yeah,
These are all of the things that, makes it even more tasty.
Yeah, well,
Who thinking about calories and cholesterols? And now
well,
that used to be a traditional for Christmas, but now you can pretty much, and I've always said this, even as former minister of health, we got Sunday dinner 7 days a week now. You just need to pull up to the right restaurant.
well, that's not necessarily a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Where the problem comes in is when we're consuming excess carbohydrates. Because you see, when you eat, you're going to eat until you're full, and then you won't be able to eat anymore, and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're filling up on carbohydrates, then here's what happens. Your body looks at those carbohydrates and it triggers insulin. And that is the excess. So your body takes in what it needs to burn, and anything extra gets stored as fat. And once you're triggering insulin, then you can't actually burn fat, because you're either in a fat burning mode or a fat storage mode,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not in both at the same time. And see, what happens is that we're constantly eating and snacking, so we're constantly triggering insulin.
Grazing,
And
which
it,
is what they
and it
call grazing. Yeah.
right, and we take and that it takes hours for your insulin levels
To
to
moderate.
subside.
Yeah.
So you're constantly in this fat storage mode,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you could never really lose the weight. And you're thinking, well, I'm trying hard, but you're actually sabotaging your own efforts, because you're not approaching it from a position of knowledge. You're approaching it thinking, well, I want to do this quick. They say that this injection will help me do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The quick fix.
and yeah, but the problem with that is that starvation is not a solution. And once you address the issue, you eat properly, you can eat a lot of good food and not gain weight.
It's
Right?
what you eat.
It's what you eat. And the biggest enemy. Now, one of the things that people think are great is juice.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I had to go to the HSA one day to do some blood work, and one of the persons sitting behind the desk had I think like a quart of pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
I said to the person, I said, "Do you realize what you're doing to yourself?"
You know how much sugar is that had in that?
Yeah. And they didn't really,
Look at
think
there.
it was that big of an issue. It's
To,
natural, right?
to keep it in context, I did have up here good carbs and bad carbs. So it's not all carbs that are bad, right? And just to break it down, good carbs are high in fiber. Good carbs are also rich in vitamins and minerals. And the speed of digestion for good carbs is slow, steady energy, right? So all like these different drinks, these high performing drinks, which would be like those high carbs, how your body breaks that down is that you get this spike and then bang, you bottom out. So again, some of the examples of good carbs is oats, beans, and apples. And some of the bad carbs are sodas, candy, and white bread. Interesting.
No, I don't share that philosophy.
No, you don't? Why?
No, I don't. I don't. Because sugar is sugar.
Okay.
It actually doesn't matter even what color it is.
It's how your
because
body processes it, though, Denny. Our digestive system is designed what is
and
absorbed and what isn't, and how,
yeah,
because your body actually converts things to sugar,
well,
and some it doesn't.
convert
It actually
it'll
just gets rid of it.
it'll convert protein to sugar, but you can't convert carbohydrates to protein. And so
Mm,
what I'm saying is that, like, if you think about I don't like the term good and bad carbohydrates.
mhm.
I think it's deceptive, right? But I agree when it comes to things like, say, some people can handle vegetables, green
Yeah.
leafy vegetables. Some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have, because because vegetables are carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
But things like cruciferous vegetables are high fiber, low carbohydrate foods.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about it, what it means is that if you eat, say, broccoli, which
Mm-hmm.
is a cruciferous vegetable, what you're actually doing is you're eating less carbohydrates in effect, because it's a low carbohydrate product.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about quantity, right? So the lower amount of carbohydrates that you consume, the better. Now, in certain circumstances, if you're going to be running a marathon,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to need
The
carbohydrates,
real one.
right?
Because of the type
What I say,
exercise. Well, sorry.
yeah, what I'm saying is that the reason for that is that you're going to be using it up.
Uh-huh.
So if you're using it up and you're not storing it, then you don't have a problem. It's when you're eating in such a way that your body is in this fat storage mode,
Mm-hmm.
and you just keep eating carbs because you're not thinking about the consequences or the quantities of what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and the fat is just packing on, right? But if you're going to be running a marathon and you say, I'm deliberately going to consume some carbohydrates because I'm going to need the energy for that marathon, that's fine. There's no problem there.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that most of us are not running marathons.
No, we watch it on
Right?
TV and we'll be on
We
the
might
sideline. I'll be a cheerleader.
a marathon to us is the sprint to the table.
You don't even like hear the word.
Um,
5Ks are even like, what the heck?
right. So one of the things that I think is unfortunate about the food industry
Mm-hmm.
is that we get some junk science that go along with it.
Mm.
And this idea of low fat is really a bad idea.
And labeling, which is
It's not.
why the advertisement is catchy. Because remember now, they start, you know, these little snacks that they have in the smaller ones, the smaller little packs, like cookies and let's say fruit snacks and that sort of stuff. It's how they're packaged that makes you think that it's not containing the same amount
Well,
of
if you
hidden
can't pronounce
carbs and
if
sugar
you can't
alcohol.
pronounce the ingredients,
Aye,
you
that's
you
another
might
thing.
you might not want to be eating it, right? But you see, the fat is essential. Your brain needs fat. All of your body needs fat.
Mm-hmm.
Fat is good for you. What you don't want is you don't want to take a carbohydrate like and your body turns that into fat, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting any of the vitamins or minerals along with sugar, like as in refined sugar. If you take and you eat a piece of, let's say, a steak, and you have, fat throughout the muscle of
Mm-hmm.
that steak, that's how you consume fat. You can consume fat in the form of nuts or, let's say, like coconut oil, for example.
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed this one here. Shaka Zulu said, I would urge folks to learn the difference between healthy and unhealthy fats. Example, olives, coconuts, and avocados.
right, right. And because you need those fats. But you see, the whole thing about cholesterol,
Mm-hmm.
that's another area in which there's a lot of misinformation. There's a guy called Ansel Keys that basically created the problem that we're dealing with about good and bad cholesterol. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I asked you about the chemical formula.
Chemicals. Yes, I did start my research on it and I'm almost done. I just didn't have it ready for today.
Yeah.
But I just don't like to talk about stuff if I'm not comfortable with delivery. It's good to have you there, but again, we don't want to, oh, Danny said so. At least I can
Yeah.
come with good comeback.
Yeah, well, I want you to do your research when you talk about it, but
Yeah.
the point that I'm making is that, for example, your steroidal hormones
Mm-hmm.
all require cholesterol for them to be manufactured by your body, right? So it's the core of your steroidal hormones
Mm-hmm.
is cholesterol. the core of vitamin D, which isn't actually a vitamin, which is technically a hormone. The reason it's called vitamin D is because when they discovered it, they thought it was a vitamin, but sticking with convention, they normally don't change the names of things that they've named them. So vitamin D is not a vitamin; it's a hormone, and the core of vitamin D is cholesterol.
Danny,
Because what
go ahead, finish, and then I'll come in. Go ahead.
because what happens is that when the sun hits your skin, the sun needs to be at an altitude that is above 30 degrees above the horizon. Because any lower than that, the UVB rays have a difficulty penetrating the atmosphere.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
it's the UVB rays. Now think about this. You go and you buy sunblock to block out UVB rays, right? Well, well, it's the UVB rays that you need in order for your body to manufacture vitamin D from the sun.
Okay. Wow.
So what happens is the UVB rays penetrates deep into the sub layers under your skin and come in contact with cholesterol. And essentially all that happens at that point is an OH group is added to that free cholesterol. That gets put into your bloodstream, it goes to your liver, and your liver adds another OH group to it. And voila, you have vitamin D.
There you go.
Right? But the point I'm making to you is that you can't live and be healthy without cholesterol. So this is why I asked the question, what is good and bad cholesterol?
And
We'll
the
have that
formula.
conversation.
And the
We'll have a
formula. Yeah,
conversation
we
about
have
that
to.
another day.
We have to, because how your body process it is one thing. I get what you're saying, but going back to the highlights of the US guidelines, and there's a reason why, because we were heavily influenced despite us having our own guidelines. But I thought this was pretty interesting, right? The base of what they have delivered, right, is that the central theme of their guideline, and I'm hoping I can see it here, is really simplicity is what they call it. And what they're doing is that they're prioritizing vegetables, whole greens, lean meats, eggs, dairy, and healthy fats. Here we go. And guess what? They're also at the bottom of their pyramid, right? Of their phone. That's now coming back up. The base of their pyramid now, it will have proteins and nutrient dense foods are now at the base. So what they have done, they're highlighting the United States. They're highlighting protein front and center, unlike past guidelines. So that in the past, they leaned heavily on greens and that sort of stuff. Now they're putting their baseline on meat, poultry, seafood, eggs at the core of the plate. That's not making no sense to me.
Why not? Tell me why not.
I guess it was because how we were wired. Is that aligning with what you were saying earlier? I'm trying to find
it actually makes lots of sense to me. And let me tell you why I
was trying to find it. Go ahead.
I just said earlier that your body can make
cholesterol,
carbohydrates from protein.
Right.
So if you're eating a high protein diet, your body will only make the carbohydrates that it needs, and you then don't end up with excess carbohydrate.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then if you're going out and you're running that marathon, or you're doing resistance training, then your body is saying, well, wait a second, I need these amino acids to make these repair these proteins that are being damaged, right? And so
I think Jim hit it on the head just now. He says it's the way we've been programmed. Why automatically just reading that, you'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah. We've been programmed with lies. Like you look up. There's a guy called his name is Ansel Keys. He wasn't actually a specialist in this area, but if I remember correctly, what happened was that he tried to prove, all of these things that we now think of as bad,
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking. He tried to prove those things, and the research said the opposite. So he hid the research,
Oh, wow.
and they didn't discover the but he went ahead and regulated it anyhow, because he was in the
It's
position as a political
to do
appointee,
it,
so he had the power to do it.
Right.
And then when he died, they discovered the research in the basement,
Oh, wow.
where his hypothesis was disproven. But but so eggs is very
Mm-hmm.
eggs don't have as much protein. Like, it's not like it's, you know, tons and tons of protein in
Mm-hmm.
an egg. But what's important about an egg is that it has all of the essential amino acids.
Mm-hmm.
So essential means that we have to ingest them from our diet. The non-essential amino acids just means that our body can manufacture them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you eat an egg, you're getting all of the elements that are needed to construct any protein that your body requires. And think about the benefits of that. It's like let's say you have a bicycle shop
Mm-hmm.
and you're repairing bicycles, and you have a storeroom with all of the parts, and no matter when or what part you need, it's
Mm-hmm.
in your storeroom, guaranteed. You never run out of the essential part. Think about the benefit of that, right?
Right.
Well, that's what eggs do for you,
Do.
because they are a complete protein. It has all the essential amino acids. But the problem is that it's not just about diet. It's about also getting sufficient water,
Mm-hmm.
because none of the biochemical processes can occur in the absence of water.
Correct.
And it's about sleep, because a lot of the repair that's being done, your liver manufactures the proteins that are necessary to replace the damaged ones that happened in your day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not getting enough sleep, or let's say you ate a big meal just before you went to sleep, now your body is busy
Trying to burn.
digesting
Yeah.
food
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing repair work.
Correct.
And
Instead of, yeah.
so you're really sabotaging your health by not adhering to just some very simple concepts. You need enough sleep, you need enough water, you need to get all of the elements that your body needs to do the repairs.
Mm-hmm.
Example, eggs provides you with all of those amino acids. The question is, some people would think, well, 2 eggs with some toast and some that's foolishness. It'd be better to have eggs and some protein and some green leafy vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, not
So
I'm
not the
talking,
bread. So let's say a piece of
no,
salmon or some chicken, pulled chicken or whatever. A protein,
yeah, or
protein. Yeah.
beef
Or
or
beef or, yeah.
goat or turtle. Turtle is actually good for you.
I
Uh,
never eat him. I never eat him. I can't eat him.
no, it's actually good for you,
Yeah, yeah.
including all of the fats
I
that you
leave you
see
right
in it.
there with him.
Well, I would thank you if you leave it all for me. but
You can have my
but I
share.
but I'm just saying it's they're a good fat.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't, and some people put oil in it. That's really a bad idea.
Correct.
You
Because
don't
it
do
has
that.
its own.
Right. And so being healthy and losing fat is not just about what you eat, not just what you eat. You
What
have to
does
do these other things.
what does that say? Because we're heavily importing stuff from the United States now that this change is actually going to come in effect. Because their full fat dairy now is being encouraged, meaning that their guideline is recommending full fat like milk and yogurt and cheese as a part of their balanced diet. How is that going to be for the low fat and low skim and all that sort of stuff? That will take a hit on some of these companies with their labeling, don't you think?
They will just produce different products, because what is a low fat milk, for example?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It's milk. It's the same full fat milk that you get from the cow, and then they remove the fat from it, and then once you do that, now it tastes like garbage. So then they add sugar to make it more palatable,
Mm-hmm.
and then they sell it to you as low fat. And so what you're actually doing is getting an inferior product by doing a low fat milk.
But
Because
then
they're not cows that are making low
I
fat.
know.
That's the
So
manufacturing.
you kind of
process.
wonder what it is.
Yeah,
Okay, like they're removing the lactose from it because some people are
They're
sensitive.
removing the cream.
The cream from it. Mm-hmm.
And they're adding sugar, because once you remove the cream, now it's like white water that looks white.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how do you get it back to its taste? Well, that's where then they start
To play with your taste
processing-
buds, yeah.
processing it.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, there's a couple of ways you can think about milk. If you have to, everything you can't eat as much as you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I have a preference of milk that I would drink,
Mm-hmm.
it would be raw whole milk.
Really?
Yes.
Like straight off the farm.
Right.
Straight.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you why. Because when
Jim
not-
agrees with you. Jim says,
No.
yeah.
the reason why that's beneficial is that if it's not raw, it means that it has been pasteurized, which means they've applied heat to it.
Mm-hmm.
And applying heat to it
Kills.
kills the enzymes that are necessary to metabolize the milk.
But that
if you
came in
drink-
as a risk of health risk is what is being said by some. Mhm.
Insurance companies make all sorts of reasons to tell you a policy.
That you heighten your risk of getting
yeah,
sick.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that can't
Be
happen,
true.
but it's not that it's so common that you got to just be terrified of drinking raw milk. If you do it if you harvest the milk in a proper way, then you significantly reduce the risk of that.
Okay.
But when you drink the raw milk with the live enzymes,
Mm-hmm.
then your body can handle it properly. Because
Then you'll get less digestive disruption.
That's right. Because here's what would happen if you drink pasteurized milk. Now your body has to manufacture all of the enzymes that are needed
That would
to
have
break
normally
down
have
the
been
milk.
in there that has
They
now
would
been
have already been-
removed. Mhm.
Yeah. So now your body has to spend energy to make enzymes for you to metabolize something that was killed. It's foolish.
Mhm.
But there's another thing about eating and what we put in our mouth and our health, and when you talk about heart attacks and strokes and all that kind of stuff, is fluoride.
Mm.
Any toothpaste with fluoride in it
Yeah.
should be avoided like a plague.
That's not what we're sold. Devil's
I know.
advocate here.
Oh, I know.
You're going to
I
lose your
understand.
teeth if you don't have fluoride. They're
Yeah.
not going to be strong. The enamel is going to go off and you're going to get very, very sensitive. We got to put the fluoride in there. And that's in the
No.
water, right?
Well, in the US in some places. Now, I'm not sure if it's in the water in Cayman. I really don't know, but I don't drink the city water anyhow. But the point I'm making is that that's something that should not be the case if it is in Cayman. Because what is fluoride? Fluoride is just another name for an antiseptic. And an antiseptic is an antibacterial. And the reason they're putting the antibacterial in the toothpaste is because they're thinking, well, okay, you need to kill the bacteria that's in your mouth. Why? Because when you eat, you know those pastries that you like, Sabrina?
Yes.
All that sugar.
Yes.
Well, what people normally do is they eat the pastry
Mm-hmm.
and they don't brush their teeth.
Correct.
And so what happens is the sugar stays in your mouth, and guess who consumes the sugar? The bacteria in your mouth. And they populate. And as they're populating, it changes the pH in your mouth to one that is more acidic. Now, why is that important?
Which is why it's not good to give your babies a bottle of milk and that sort of stuff, or sweet drinks before they go to bed, because then their teeth get rotten during the night. And that's not,
That's right. Because it is what happens is that as the pH in your mouth becomes more acidic, then that acid is what eats away at the enamel on your teeth and make them more susceptible to cavities. But
even a simple rinsing of your mouth with water after having one of my pastries.
Wash your mouth out good. If you want to keep I don't remember her name right now, but this was a few years ago. I met a lady, and at the time I think she was in her 80s. And she had every one of her teeth, adult teeth, in her mouth. And I said, how did you pull that off? She said, I brushed my teeth and I flossed after eating.
But we're taught that in school, but who does it?
Well, like I said, you can either decide what you want the outcome to be, or you can do whatever you want, but you can't have it both ways. Right? And so, but the other point about fluoride is that when you're killing bacteria in your mouth with an antiseptic, and this is true for a mouthwash. I don't use mouthwashes. I avoid them altogether. I just use toothpaste without fluoride.
You're into the charcoal?
That's fine. That's fine. The charcoal is fine. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to have the fluoride kill the bacteria in your mouth, because you're killing good and bad bacteria. Right? And the good bacteria in your mouth is necessary and important for your vascular health when you eat green leafy vegetables. When you eat things that have nitrates in them, like how you would have like bacon. Bacon has nitrates in it, like the cured hams and stuff like that you'd buy. They have nitrates, and so does all of the green leafy vegetables, right? Well, you need the good bacteria in your mouth to break down those nitrates into nitrites. And then the nitrites get swallowed. And when it comes in contact with the acid in your stomach, it produces nitric oxide. And it's nitric oxide that your body needs in order to dilate your arteries so that you can regulate your blood pressure. And so who's thinking that high blood pressure is connected to fluoride?
That's why dental health is so key, even with persons, and they're finding that cavities are linked to heart attacks.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is why before any major surgery, besides being shaky because of the intubation for general anesthetic, there's a long, there's a lot of connection to that with heart, and again, pre-op. That's why you go to the dentist before any major surgery,
including for root canals because
Yes,
they have a risk of cancer.
correct.
Um, by the way, this brings us to the topic of heavy metals.
Mm-hmm.
So when some of us are probably young enough to have the old mercury fillings, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well, not me,
well,
but yeah.
um,
I don't have them.
okay, so the problem there is that they're constantly leaching those toxins into your body.
Holy crap.
And this is the bad part. You just can't go to any dentist and just have them removed. You actually need to go to a specialist. There's a very special, meticulous procedure
Mm-hmm.
that has to be followed to safely remove teeth, depending on how far down the filling had to go into your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to follow a very, very precise procedure to take those teeth out without contaminating your body, like causing mercury to be
The leak. Yeah.
leaked into your body. And that has the problem with those heavy metals is that those heavy metals can travel to your brain and cause all sorts of problems.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't, some things you just can't excrete from your body
Correct.
just
Just so.
unless you have sufficient um, minerals and do certain things in order to have them pass from you. Like aluminum is terrible, like in
The deodorants. I see where Jim was
yeah,
saying that yeah,
yeah,
those are not good, and we're absorbing that because we're putting that into our bodies just by putting it under our arms. We're absorbing that, as Jim said, and deodorant with aluminum in it, which is most should not be applied to our bodies.
yeah. That's it. It should not, because what happens is that under your arm, your pores open and
Mm-hmm,
close, and when
mm-hmm.
they do, you take in the aluminum, and that goes to your brain. That's not a good idea at all.
Uh,
Um,
there,
I
there's
I
a question here for you, Danny. Whether or not you're aware of this is Extil from the birch tree bark.
I'm
If
not
you're
aware of
able
that.
to, yeah, Shaka Zulu was asking if you're aware of it. It's from the
No,
birch tree bark.
no, I'm not. What about it?
It's something that you could use for your as a mouthwash as well. It in your mouth. Get Extol in your mouth consistently.
Oh,
Shaka's.
ah,
I'm probably
yeah,
pronouncing it wrong.
yeah, I'm following. Yeah. I don't I don't know enough to comment on that. I would have to look at it. I think I know what is being referred to, but I don't know that much about it.
Mm,
So so your so so the fluoride in your toothpaste is not just about your dilating your arteries. For men, it's it's how you start down the road of erectile dysfunction.
repeat
It
that
doesn't
again.
fluoride used long enough
Mm-hmm.
would lead to erectile dysfunction.
There's a lot of interconnectivity here that people are not realizing that are probably impacting our health. And we're doing these things on a daily basis and not even realize the long-term health impacts that it's having negatively on our bodies.
Right, because realize that an erection is about regulating blood pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the vascular system. So you need vascular health.
Xylitol. That's what it
So
is. Thank you for
okay,
that, Shaka Zulu.
so if you're not if you're not doing things that damage your arteries,
Mm-hmm.
then you have healthier arteries. And the healthier your arteries are, the better they regulate your blood pressure, therefore avoiding the erectile dysfunction.
Wow.
but it happens over a long period of time. So
Keith
people,
Orr says, you're hired. Okay, Dr. Danny, you're hired.
um, no, the irony of this is you could do all this all yourself.
Yourself?
It's
No,
just you.
Danny, where do you find all of this? I wouldn't say time because you're
I spent,
investing in yourself, right? But how are you able, one, to retain all of this? And is it because you're investing in yourself? Knowledge is power. Yes,
yes,
we know.
yes.
But I mean, you're just rattling these things off like there's some Encyclopedia Britannica in the back of your head. Like, what the heck?
Well, once you learn something, it's like
Yeah, it stays.
you know it, right? So, I mean, I could probably ask you questions about health and you'll rattle things off too.
Well, yeah, or immigration. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
so it is, but you come across so versed. And I know sometimes people get, oh God, Dana, on again. But that is shifting now. That is changing now. They ask, where are you? Because you're verse, your contributions to platforms and subjects. People can go and fact check you. They may not necessarily like exactly how you
But,
deliver, but when you check it, the dots eventually connect.
well, it depends on where you go to fact check me. You might think that I'm wrong, but
Mm,
because this is one of the things that you have in the world where you have all of these competing interests,
correct.
and some is about health and some is about economics. I'm not I'm interested in economics, but I don't put economics before health. So
Mm-hmm.
when I think about health, I think about what is the issue and how do we address the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, well, what's the cheapest thing I can get? I don't cheapness is not even on the radar when I'm trying to think about what is the best thing to do.
Okay.
I Now that doesn't mean that economics isn't important because you might discover that the best thing to do is something you can't afford. But the point I'm making to you is I'm trying to understand what is the best thing to do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
And if it comes with a cost, at least you'll get the answer.
Right, right. And um so then that allows me to walk into a store, see a product on the shelf and go, no, 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 not good for me.
Mm. So you literally stand there and you read a lot of labels.
No, 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 I don't.
It was a question.
No, I don't. I go to the part of the grocery store where the product has one ingredient. It might be beef, it might be chicken, it might be something else. I don't go and look for things that have 20 ingredients that I have no idea what the hell they are.
But you don't know what these chickens and beef are being raised on.
Well, you, well,
I'm
the,
just
the the best. I'll tell you the best dressed chicken, for example. I
uh
inquired because they were doing some promotions in Cayman a few years back, and they were on the radio and they were talking about their chicken and how
no
they raised
hormones.
them.
That yeah.
Yeah, and I inquired about because they started doing organically raised chickens, and I inquired. I said, when you say organic,
What do you mean?
what? Well, yeah, and what it really came down to at the time. Now, I haven't followed up recently to see if that has changed in any way, but at the time, what they were saying was that they they don't give their chickens any hormones
Mm-hmm.
and they allow them to roam freely.
So it's free range.
To, well, that term has a very specific meaning. It just means you go outside of the cage
Mm.
for a while. That's all it means. And you have to be able to distinguish between free range and pasture raised.
Mm-hmm.
Pasture raised means that the chickens eat naturally. Free range doesn't mean they eat naturally. It means they just get outside for a while, but they still eat conventional food like grain.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with corn for chickens is that corn is not the natural diet. of chickens. Chickens will eat corn, but it's not their main diet. They need to be able to eat bugs and worms and grasses and seeds and fruits and stuff like that in order for them to get the nutrition that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, the goal of eating is not to eat something that tastes good. The goal of eating is to eat things that will give you the nutrition you need to be healthy. If it tastes good, that's just the bonus.
Mm-hmm. I see
Right?
where Keith Orrit, Danny, is asking you, what about turtle meat?
It's good. We have to make a distinction. Now, I don't want to cause environmental health an issue in the Department of Environment any issues, but I just like to speak frankly about issues,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not trying to encourage anyone to break the law.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you have a turtle that is in the sea that eats a natural diet, that's going to provide you with more nutrition than the ones we get at the turtle farm.
Good
But
night,
that doesn't
Hannah.
that doesn't mean that what you get at the turtle farm is somehow like terrible. Okay? And so but this is true for everything, because we just talked about free range versus pasture raised.
Correct.
It's the same concept, right? And so, because you have to understand this, that what I just said about nutrition is also true for animals. But what happens in the industrial agriculture process is that instead of animals getting the quality of food that they need in order for them to have the nutrition they need, the nutrition gets substituted by inferior synthetic
Mm-hmm.
uh, vitamins in their food. So, like for example, a synthetically made vitamin C isn't structurally identical to a naturally occurring vitamin D. I'm sorry, vitamin C. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The shell might look similar, but all of the elements are not the same.
That is why when some people actually go out and purchase turtle meat, they'll know which one comes from the farm, or they call it
A-
wild turtle,
Absolutely.
because the
Absolutely.
texture, the taste, there's a
Yeah.
distinct difference. I've
Yeah.
heard it before.
Yes. Yeah. And because it has elements in it that it's not getting at the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But that's true for chickens and whatever. And so let me continue with the best dress.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they were telling me on the radio is that they feed their chickens organic corn. Well, that's good, but here's what the problem is with corn when you're feeding chickens. Corn doesn't have all. Think about the periodic table of elements on the periodic table. Uh, Corn doesn't contain much of what's on that table. They just have a few
Mm-hmm.
of those elements. And so it's not a complete diet for the chicken. And so what has to happen is that these things get added. And in order for the chicken to be affordable, they need to be able to manufacture the nutrients synthetically so that it's affordable to put it in a feed so that you could go to the grocery store and get
And
a
buy it.
reasonable priced chicken.
Hmm.
Ideally, here's the irony. Ideally, the chickens that are just running around wild,
Mm-hmm.
those are the better ones to eat from a nutritional perspective.
But they say you'll be pressure cooking some of them for days.
Well, it's not, well, yes, because if a
They're
chicken is
tough.
running around, they are going to have tighter muscles.
Correct.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. But what people tend to do is they tend to think, well, oh, if you catch one of those chickens, what you should do is put them in a cage.
Purge them.
Purge.
Purge them. Mm-hmm.
But Ideally, that's not really. I know that culturally people think that.
Like what they do
But
with crabs when they catch crabs.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
but that's ideally that's from a nutritional perspective. That's not what you want to do, because then what you'll do is you'll go to the agriculture department and they'll get this non-organic food that's filled with medications and all sorts of stuff in there that isn't high quality nutrition, and they'll feed them and they'll think, well, they're getting something that's clean. Well, clean is something that I I don't put a lot of. I mean, I think about like clean from a perspective of not having viruses that will
Yeah.
kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, when I think about clean, I don't think, well, I need them to eat a certain type of food. That's, to me, that's not clean. That's a misuse of that term.
Gotcha.
So so we, if you think big picture, you think I need nutrition. If that's what you think when you approach food, then you have to ask yourself, well, what nutrition does this food contain? Do I get enough of the nutrition? I will tell you one thing that we don't normally get enough of that is problematic in society, and that's iodine.
Hmm.
Right now, I haven't seen it in the stores lately, but used to be able to get like that fresh seaweed, like
Mm-hmm.
in the Delhi area,
Mm-hmm.
like in the little small container.
Yeah.
That contains like a month's worth
Of
of
iodine.
iodine. And iodine is incredibly important to the human body, especially to women as well, because it's not just your thyroid that needs iodine.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, your your um, your thyroid will make a hormone called T4,
Yep.
and T4 is just simply 4 molecules of iodine.
T3 and 4 is made by the thyroid.
Well, yeah, some, but most of the T3 gets um, brought into existence by,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your liver. What happens there is that the T3 is made by your thyroid,
Mm-hmm.
goes to your liver strips away one of the iodines, so then you end up with T3. And in other words, T3 is the active form of T4. So your body can't utilize the T4 in all of the ways that is necessary. It has to be activated to be utilized.
Mm-hmm.
And then that hormone is necessary for the production of other.
Hormones.
So if you're not getting enough iodine, you're throwing your hormone balance
Off.
out of whack,
Correct. I
just because.
I just quickly pulled up some of the thing you were asking for about seaweed and like kelp, right?
Yes, yes.
And so what is your take then on other sources of iodine coming from, of course, you got the iodized salt. And for those persons who may not eat shellfish or may have reaction, it can also be gotten from fish and mussels and shrimp. But
Yeah.
guess what? Iodine can also be found in milk, yogurt, cheese, based on what region they come from
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah.
interestingly enough, you were talking about eggs earlier on, but
Yeah.
eggs also contains a moderate amount of iodine as well.
That's right. And you remember hearing me talk about eating 2 eggs?
Yes.
That's not enough. If I eat eggs, right,
Mm-hmm.
I could easily eat 6 eggs.
Half a dozen.
Yeah. The reason for that, you see, is that you have to choose what you're gonna eat. So I'm not gonna be throwing into my thing um, potatoes and
Mm-hmm.
some rice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna eat the thing that's gonna give me the most benefit. So I'll eat the eggs instead of eating eggs with toast and pancakes. The
Mm-hmm.
pancakes get left out. And I'll eat the eggs.
I'll eat the pancakes, but leave out the syrup. It's a start.
Well,
I'm kidding,
well,
Danny. I'm kidding.
I I know they taste good. I agree, but taste doesn't equal nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
But the iodine is critically important for overall health.
Mm.
And the unfortunate thing is that we tend not to think about iodine until we go to the doctor and they say, well, this looks a bit low, right? And we do the same thing with other nutrients. Like one, for example, is vitamin D. Uh, a lot of people have a deficiency in vitamin D, particularly because of how, the world used to think about vitamin D. Um, you'll have people who will end up with, like, say, a reading of 30 or 40.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors will say to you, well, it's a little low, but it's not that bad. You'll might bring it up to 50. That's not enough. You need your vitamin D to actually be up into like 80 and 90. You don't want the bare minimum. So if you, let's put it this way. If you were going to be driving to East End, would you only put enough gas in your car to get you to East End?
No. You'd
You,
want it to be more just in case. It could be delays. It could be reroutes. Yeah.
yes. And this, when with vitamin D, your immune system uses vitamin D to do all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it
And
helps us absorb calcium and phosphorus. That's for sure.
right. And but so with like, say, with vitamin D, you actually need the recommendations in the US. I think for children it was like, I don't know, 600. I think it is somewhere around there. International 600 international units, and the little
They got it broken down, I think, in nanograms, 20 to 50.
nanograms.
Yeah,
Okay,
nanograms per millimeter. Yeah. And anything in excess of 50 to 60 would be considered harmful. So the normal range in nanograms is 20 to 50.
okay. For vitamin D, that's not enough for an adult.
But that's what it's
I,
that's a
I, I
normal range. Normal range is what they're
yes.
saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normal
And
range.
but let's talk about what normal range means. Because you see, let's just say you have 10,000 people in Cayman and you go to the hospital and they check your vitals and they find that your blood pressure is between, I don't know, whatever the number is. Um, all normal means is that that's where most people measure, because it's just a statistic that measures or records the measurements of the people who were attended to by that facility, the industry, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it's just a norm, but norm shouldn't be confused with ideal, right? Because most people are sick. You told me that you like sweets, right?
Mm.
And I'm sure
Not really.
you're
I
well,
can't tolerate them.
yes, meaning you, when you went to the UK, you had one of them because you like them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, most people like sweets. I like sweets too.
But I
But
wouldn't call myself a sweet tooth. I've never been, even
okay.
pre gastric bypass. I just not a sweet tooth person.
Okay. Well, the 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 issue is that we may like something,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean it's good for us. And so we live in such a way that our health sometimes is not ideal. But it is normal, because if people are, let's just say, just use a measurement of 1 to 10. 10 is really healthy and 1 is very unhealthy. And let's say most people measure 3 on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if everyone goes and gets checked up in the hospital, the hospital is going to have a database with information that says, well, 3 is normal for Cayman. But
Regional, you think?
or I'm just saying, it doesn't matter
Yeah. Gotcha.
whether it's global, regional. It's just the concept is that normal just means this is where most people's readings are.
Uh-huh.
But just because it's at 3 doesn't mean you're in good health. Because remember, 10 is excellent health,
Mm-hmm.
but most people are 3. So most people would be recorded as normal if they're in the range of 3. Now, if somebody goes there and they measure 9, they're going to say, well, this is out of sync with everybody else. But just because you're out of sync doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm. I just put up on the screen for you, in case you didn't see it, the daily needs of the vitamin D per day. That could help explain it. You can't? Oh.
No.
It says infants 0 to 12 months, 400 IU or 10 mcg per day. Children and adults, that's from 1 to 70 years old, 600 per day. And adults older than 71, 800 IU or 20 mcg per day. Now, this is, of course, from Medical News Today, and sources of that is fortified foods, milk, cereals, fatty fish, so forth. But I also found a interesting comment that Jim made here. That he said, he was told by a doctor here on island to get enough vitamin D, you would have to be outside in the sun naked all day long, whether that is true or not. But I know one thing for sure, Caribbean people, normally when you do your bloods or vitamin D, especially Caribbean people, is bottom out. It's like it's low because we're inside most of the time and we're not getting enough of the nutrients in to keep it up because we're trying to keep cool. I've had the problem myself. Mine have been bottom out for a while.
And we're also taking the advice of dermatologists who tells us to go early morning and late evening to get your sun exposure. But the reason that's wrong is because, as I've indicated before, the sun needs to be at an altitude that's greater than 30 degrees above the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise the atmosphere is too thick for the UVB rays to penetrate.
Well, what's this thing about people, the babies back in the day in the morning, we used to take them out and sun them and all that sort of stuff because of the pollution being less into the air at the earlier mornings for that first sun. And it helped with jaundice, which is
it's not that it has no use. It's that for the purposes of vitamin D, it is no benefit.
Okay, for the purpose of vitamin D, yes. Okay, yeah.
But that doesn't mean it has no purpose.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and but one of the other things why you say if you just wake up, you should immediately go outside and look around don't look at the sun, but look around so that your eyes are exposed to daylight.
Because you absorb vitamin D through your eyes.
Well, no, that's not the reason.
Why?
As you wake up and you go and you look outside, what you're doing is you're setting your circadian rhythm.
Oh.
Because what happens is as your body sees sunlight, a timer starts ticking. And then what'll happen is your body will start
waking up.
Yes. Not only that, but when it comes to nighttime, your body now knows that it's getting dark. And so in addition to seeing the sunlight go away, then your hormones are kicking in to make you go to sleep. But of course, we're disrupting all of that with artificial light.
There we go. Well, Danny, it's 6:58. And even though they love your Tartarian, said, Danny, I washed the dishes, swept the kitchen, took out the garbage, fold the clothes, iron a shirt, and Danny's still talking.
Well, guess what?
People were engaging Tartarian. Trust me, he delivered a lot of solid stuff, Tartarian.
I won't send the bill in the mail.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Always good to have you on. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yes. Andrew Campbell said between 10 and 1 p.m., barefoot grounding. Connie Bonnie says, first thing I do when I wake up is to take my puppy out for a walk around the garden, and that's between 5 and 6 a.m. Yep. Yes, I would say. It was Vitamin Denny show. Yes, today. Today. There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with me today. It has been a pleasure being with you. Tomorrow, I will definitely do a weekend review, and definitely we can have open mic here tomorrow. So again, let's keep it engaging. We want to have that space for you as we kick off this first official week in 2026. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for joining me here Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. As usual, love you guys lots. Please enjoy the rest of the evening and be safe. God bless. Until tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.